Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Wrestling for the Weekend, October 22nd, 2023. We're going to talk about Impact Bound for Glory, also known as TNA, because TNA is back. What is up, guys?
Not much, man. It's another long week.
It's another long week of crazy wrestling. Chris, how's it going, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm pretty excited about that news. And Bound for Glory was a great show. I finished it up like 30 minutes before we started. Honestly, it may have been their best of the year, and they've had some good shows this year.
I would tend to agree. I think that it actually had like no fat on it, which is great. Like I thought everything really hit well. I found there was nothing that like missed its mark or felt that it didn't belong on pay-per-view. Like it was tight and everything was good. And even though it had some results that I personally didn't expect, I didn't mind them. I didn't mind them at all. But we're gonna get into the big news first because at the end of the pay-per-view, as they were going off air, some sort of video package started playing and helped me out with who was on this package, because I know there was Eric Young, Josh Alexander, Rosemary was there, I believe, as well in her old
Putting
gear.
on her paint, yeah, which I thought that was the most interesting part.
It was very interesting.
Other than actual reveal, because
it might be
like I had this like revelation like recently with her. Like I don't mind this like character she's doing right now as like a little change up, but like I feel like it's just there so she can get basically a return pop without going away. If she goes back to Rosemary, it's gonna be awesome. Like Mick Foley would take off his mask and be like, I'm Cactus Jack now, and it'd be like a
they're like, woo! Oh man, that's hilarious. And I think you might be right on the money, because it does, with that reveal, it does feel like it's evident that she's going to return to her other gimmick, which does feel like her regular gimmick anyways. This gimmick is fun, but I think it's run its course anyways.
But I think it was pretty much the core roster, I'd say, of people that are probably under the longer term contract.
Okay, that's a good point.
Eddie Edwards was there.
Moose was there, I think. He's the only one
I believe he was.
Sure of. If he was there, then yeah, I'm pretty sure it was pretty much just who I would consider like their long term roster. It seems going forward. I mean, the other people missing, like I would say, are probably. Maybe just probably not signed long term, maybe, but just may not be a permanent fixture.
Yeah, Eddie Edwards, I knew was one of them. He was like one of the first ones you even see.
Yeah,
yeah. Eddie and like Kaz are like the main ones. I like Kaz bringing in the thing because he's probably the most like TNA original person outside of like the Guns. But even there before.
Yeah. It's cool to see him too. Shout out to Wrestling Smarks in the chat, who was all. It was basically like, I think Chris nailed it. It's a lot of the people who signed long-term contracts with Impact. Almost a bit sad to not see Callahan in there.
Yeah,
because like
it kind of shocks me, but like I mean, it's whatever. Like,
hey, it is what it is. People move on.
Friends, like in AEW stuff. That's what he wants to do. But I honestly like, and I feel like he's gonna be back.
I mean, there's only one place he can, if he goes to, that he wouldn't be allowed to go back. Like, I don't think it would be a problem if he, we can get into that. So, anyways, they're in the woods. They're all reminiscing about this box, and kind of being
Kaz actually comes straight out of the river, the bottom of the lake,
with the box. That's right. I don't know. Was there like is there a kayfabe reason why this box was in the lake?
I don't believe wrestling wise, but it's something that I can't put my finger on it. But I believe it's just like an old folktale thing. I feel like it's a reference to something like
okay.
You bury it at the bottom of the lake, it's done with, and I don't know. I feel like I've just seen that like in pop culture, even like maybe goofing stuff like that. You come out with the thing that was supposed to be dead and buried and under the lake and stuff.
Yeah,
I think it's just something symbolizing that. Very very symbolic.
It was very symbolic, and then they're all being very cryptic and edgy about their past. And Grace was there as well, I believe.
Yeah. Looks like to be a big fixture going forward.
Well, she did sign a long-term deal, as far as I heard, so that makes sense. And then they open the box and all the cool lights come out and the TNA music and all these TNA graphics. And then
the
commentary, of course,
too. Yeah.
Which was another really nice. We can talk about that on the review. How great that those speeches were.
That's probably right. It could have been like a reincarnation reference too.
It could have been. You know what? That
does make some sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's also a parody of other things in general.
Yeah, it's wrestling, right? But it was really well done. And then they show that they're back, and that they show the TNA graphic, and For Hard to Kill is branded under TNA Wrestling.
We're back. Like
that's all it says. And then they go to the ring, and Scott D'Amore is there, and he just screams, "We're effing back" on top of his lungs, and that's the end of the pay-per-view. That's it.
They actually cut that part out on the fight replay.
They did? Okay.
You hear the crowd chanting TNA, which I think was not the video anymore. I think it was the live crowd chanting it. The audio changed slightly, but then it ends.
That's amazing.
But I saw that on
hilarious. Yeah, it was great live, man. I don't know, like, how do you guys feel about this? Like, there's a lot to unpack there, obviously. So, I guess one by one, just kind of go about how you feel about this.
Well, if I can, I'm going to start watching it again for sure. Cause
there you go.
Like, I what you would call right now a casual viewer, like
sure.
Impact or TNA or whatever. You know, like I watch it every so often, but now I'm going to try to remember more. Because I said, I have a hard time. I watch so much wrestling. I have a hard time remembering it sometimes, but I'm going to try my best to remember and start watching this. Like I said, I'm glad I watched the show last night. Also, it was a great show.
It was a fantastic show. Definitely a good point. Like, even just a change of branding can like bring back some old, I guess you could call them lapsed viewers, really.
Of TNA.
Folks,
it's hard to bring back.
I've seen a lot of folks on Twitter
wrestling
happy
users,
about it.
Like
yep.
viewers, like they just don't watch wrestling entirely. That's hard to get back. But if they're already watching other wrestling, it's not too hard. Like,
yeah.
I mean, what the sad part is, it takes them just getting fed up with another company. Usually, though.
Usually, that's the case. This is a rare case where like there's a rebranding and a new company where it's. I mean, they did say like, oh, like the wrestling world is bleeding, but I think that's just wrestling promotion as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah.
It's not really a big deal. But
I think that was just meant to. I think that was people are gonna take that like more like a shot and stuff. But I think that was more meant to be like the wrestling world has been bleeding since there's been no TNA, so they're fixing it.
Yeah, for sure. Like and I think what Blaze says like rings through for like a lot of people. I think a lot of people. Like Wrestling Smarks in the chat, we know for a fact, and there's a lot of other people who were in the chat or commenting after this news came out that, the name Impact doesn't resonate with them, but the name TNA does. So, just the name coming back is enough to make some people curious to come back, people who are not watching. That's great.
Yeah. The thing about the company too is they lean so much into their history, and it's both the good and the bad. Like people can be all LOL TNA all they want, and like it doesn't matter because the company makes fun of that stuff themselves now. They lean into it. They reference it. They do all these callbacks, and it's fun for it. It's their history. They embrace it. They don't try to like hide anything.
Yeah, they're great for that. I think we've gone past. There's been long enough of a gap since the LOL TNA stuff, which granted, like a lot of the LOL TNA stuff was warranted. Like,
I stand by. I watched it. I was a fan. I watched it every week, but none of it gets better watching back. It gets funnier in cases, but
sure. And I mean, like,
awful.
I'm not even there yet in my rewatch, and it's like already like some questionable stuff, right? But I can see why people were a fan because there was a lot of questionable stuff with a lot of good wrestling as well, right? Oh, we lost Blaze. That's okay. Well, I'm sure he'll come back. He'll come back. I'm sure. But yeah, like even now, like I'm not really into like what I would consider like the real TNA days because I feel like it really starts off when they do the Impact branding as well, right?
Yeah, and what it seems like the era they seem to be going back to more than anything else, even though they will embrace all their eras, except for not Global Force. I don't think we'll see that, but they're going back to like the TNA Impact Cross the Line. That was basically when they debuted on Spike TV, which was when they first kind of
right. Yeah, see, like that's when they came on the map for me, for example. There he is.
Yeah,
there he is. He's back.
Please.
I don't know what the hell my shit just crashed on me.
You're still a little pixelated, but your audio is perfect, so it's no big deal.
Yeah, we were just talking about how the era they seem to be most going back to is basically like the Spike days, the first Spike days, the Cross the Line. That was even the theme song that played when Mike TNA came out.
Yeah, it was, which was another awesome. Like Easter egg, right? And like here you have like Wrestling Smarker Brand saying the same thing. Like he was a TNA full timer before, and even just the brand thing rechanging it makes him want to come back and watch on a weekly basis. So that's the kind of stuff that obviously Scott D'Amore is going for and probably wants to hear, right? Like those are great things. That's good feedback to hear.
Because he has, I mean, he was there obviously, but he has nostalgia for those days too, and he wants nothing more than to bring it back. You can tell. But I will say one thing that makes me probably even more excited is like, I mean, like I'm like at this point willing to just say Scott D'Amore is both a booking and just a business genius, because this has been in the works for a while. They've revealed now, like they've already made the new title belts and all that, but they're being patient. They're not just instantly going to it. They're rolling it out. They're going to have the big red carpet for it, at their January pay-per-view. And that might end up being one of their highest, honestly, it might be their highest, most bought pay-per-view ever, because no one gets exact numbers on Fight, but it's long thought that like that last Slammy was, could have possibly actually beat all the Dixie Carter era ones on regular pay-per-view.
It wouldn't shock me.
Have numbers, so you only have like these very rough estimates, so no one can make that call. But I think it's so smart that they're waiting, and they can have stuff built to like that first TNA show, which we already know it's going to be Jordan versus the champion, probably Trinity, and Moose versus the champion, which is probably Shelly. We'll get into that more when we talk about that.
Yeah, and I think you can also say they've got a fairly like, in the same sense as AEW, they have a core audience, and I'd say like from what I've seen from the numbers over the last like year or whatever, it's like 90 to 100,000. Like I'm talking TV fans, which honestly,
and that's a shit channel, and that like the YouTube, they have YouTube, the Impact.
Of course, yeah, they have
for people that don't get the channel. I see the amount of people that watch that live weekly when I watch. It's not like a lot, but that's still, you don't have to watch live though,
Yeah, but it's still more consistent than it used to be as well. Like it's been around that 100,000 number for like a while now, which is really good for them. Like you said, considering the network they're on, considering like how much let's be honest, even like 3 years ago, like it wasn't all roses even back then. 5 years ago, things were not going great.
Honestly, if it wasn't for Access and their or Anthem, and their resources, I think the pandemic would have just ended them. But they were able to keep running with a weekly TV show during the pandemic with no fans. That's kind of insane.
Hey, they're hard to kill.
They are hard to kill.
Exactly. That's why it's also poetic that that's the first because that was never a TNA event. I believe that was a Impact branded pay-per-view, like a newer one. To promote the rebranding to Impact, if I'm like not mistaken. Hey, we're still here. We're just Impact now. Because we're hard to kill, but now it's, meaning for TNA.
Yeah,
TNA will never die.
It's great that it hasn't, even though it went through a lot of hardships. There's like a WWE like fandom to it where it's been around for so long that there's just like legendary moments, right?
And it should have died so many times. It almost went bankrupt within the first year. Like Dixie Carter basically saved it, from what I've heard. Whenever her company bought it, I wrote them off myself in like 2012, 2013, 2014. I don't remember the exact point I did. I'm like, there's no way. They're losing all their money, losing all their stars. They're going to keep losing money. It's just going to close down. They're not going to be able to, turn it around. And that they didn't somehow. It got bad. It got real bad, but they never died.
Yeah, so I think this is true to a degree, but they started bringing back the TNA stuff around the time Moose brought back the belt, and they've been more
Scott too. I think all Scott.
It was Scott, yeah. So they've been kind of reintroducing it slowly under a more positive light over the last few years. They've had the like was it hard? I don't remember which pay per view it was that had the like the TNA feel to it. Where they
Oh, that
basically
was the
branded it
20th anniversary, I believe, last year.
last year, yeah,
Not this year.
and it
Yeah,
was super
that
successful.
was 20th
Yeah.
anniversary. Yeah, I had all the TNA nostalgia.
Everybody really liked that, right? Like there was some really positive feedback about it. So I'm wondering if that's around the time when they were like, maybe this name is not like completely dead in the water.
That was probably Scott trying to convince Anthem of it, if I had to guess. I think
Probably.
I think
You might be
that's
right,
just
yeah.
so obvious. Yeah. Same with Moose and the belt.
Yeah, and I mean, like, yeah, I mean, Smark's been saying it for a while too. That like he's been saying it for years that like TNA is their more successful and better branding, and obviously Scott D'Amore feels the same way. So,
yeah. And it's just chanted like all the time still. Like that seemed to be his main point. He's like, I hear it chanted all the time.
Yeah.
Like
people don't want to, if people are chanting TNA and they're not chanting Impact, even now, I mean, yeah, eventually maybe you should listen. I agree. So yeah, big news, pretty cool news. I can't wait. Apparently there's a TNA / Impact press conference on Facebook of some kind on Tuesday from Scott D'Amore.
I'm not 100% sure of the day, but yeah, it's Tom Hannafin's going to be interviewing him on
the
Facebook page.
So that should be interesting. One thing we didn't mention is I don't have the press conference pulled up right now, but there was a thing of bigger and more prestigious venues as far as things they're expecting to do.
I was going to bring this up when I mentioned how smart it is with the timing, and clearly this was in the works. Remember, they announced a few weeks ago they were going to be doing this weird taping schedule this year because they were upgrading all their equipment. So they're basically, they're doing the European tapings. I mean, it was convenient. It was a good timing, and almost by necessity, though, so they can use those companies' production stuff. They're doing tapings in Mexico, use AAA's production stuff, so... but it's all for upgrades. They said they were really excited for them. So, and this all makes perfect sense now.
Every little move they've been doing and announcing kind of makes a lot of sense. Certain people re-signing for long term. I have to think that this was discussed for a while.
Yeah, I mean they got to be making money, right? Like,
right? They have to be.
I hope
they got to be doing a good little profit relative for whatever they were meant to do. They got to be doing good, however they're doing it.
This is a good point, and I'd even throw in WWE in there when WWE even like 3 years ago was doing bad numbers as far as live venues. There's cycles to this stuff. If TNA can still be in business today, if there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly. You got to be really dumb or really unlucky to just like straight up die, because you can almost always downsize unless you just really fuck up, go way too big. Like you can almost always downsize if you're willing, and
if you're willing,
fun. It might not be prestigious, but TNA did it, and
man, shout out to Scott D'Amore, man. They put their egos aside for a long time, like you guys said earlier. Like they're not afraid to make fun of themselves, which is a big thing, to be humble, right? And I think because they've been humble and they've been putting out a really good quality product and not treating their fans like idiots, and kind of
hires such good people. We were talking off air, but like Lance Storm and Jimmy Jacobs just left, but he was there for so long too,
for sure. And they've got more good people now.
Yeah, they have so many people like behind the scenes that are good. He hires like
what's her name as well?
Nice people. Like the people want to be around, and he hires wrestlers. Like he keeps wrestlers there that people are like, they see him on TV. Sometimes they're like, why is this person on my TV? But it's because everyone likes, like they like them. They have a use backstage, and maybe they shouldn't be on TV as much, but you gotta fill some bodies sometimes. And
well, I mean, they still have a small roster, right? So sometimes you gotta tote those guys out. And I mean, I was gonna say they have Gail Kim too, is another good example.
Yeah, exactly, Gail Kim. If they have like jobs they do backstage too, and you can use them on TV for a pop. Like, you're only paying one person still.
Yeah, I mean, people like Gail Kim, for example, like you can bring her on TV for a cheap pop anytime, and it gets huge reactions every single time.
Every time, and it's like she's there every week, guys.
I'm certainly not complaining. I love Gail Kim.
I'm just hoping we get another TNA show in Macon, because if they do, I'm going. I went to the one and only time they had a televised event.
I actually haven't been to Dallas in a while. Everything's coming to Dallas soon, though. I'm gonna be busy for like a week in December. But I didn't go the last time TNA was here, and I really Like, we're still really gutted about it, and they haven't been back since.
I mean, the same thing happened to me. I was going to go to the Toronto show, and then like financials didn't work out for driving there that weekend because it was going to be too much, and I regretted it, man. Like especially at that venue, and the show ended up being great. So yeah, just shout out to Scott D'Amore and all the great work he's doing at TNA Impact Wrestling. It's just some awesome stuff. We'll get right to the pay-per-view because I think we've already spent like 20 minutes talking about this, which just shows how excited we are. So that's awesome. Yeah, like how do you want to start just bottom to top?
Let's actually go top to bottom. Let's start with the main
Top
event.
to bottom? All right, cool.
Yeah, we kind of already started with the main event news. So let's.
You're right. Yeah, why not?
So that was Alex Shelley versus Josh Alexander for the Impact World Championship still currently. And Alex Shelley actually retained, which I think was a shock to everyone, I assume. I didn't read the chat live, but
I called it.
Except for Blaze.
wow.
No, for real. Blaze was saying from the beginning of the pay-per-view before it started that Shelley was retaining. Everybody talked shit to him about it.
I think it makes sense the more I think about it, actually, too. I'm just shocked. Like, I wouldn't have done it, but like I'm a coward. That's just safe booking. Put the title back on Josh. Why would you?
You're not wrong.
I think it's probably better long term. The more I thought about it, with you can give Moose his title run. I assume at Hard to Kill or something. You can build up a big Josh Moose rematch, building up to their old feud later. I think that's really smart. As long as you keep Josh occupied, which they can. Yeah, that's no problem. Bring in fucking New Japan guys again to occupy.
Yeah, and that's their big feud for sure. That's the big money feud. Is Moose Josh.
You can still get Macklin in there too with both of them. He has history with both of them. That can be done anytime.
I mean, Saban technically can also call a shot at any time. He is a 10-time champion at this point. Mm-hmm. It hasn't been talked about, but they could literally do whatever they want if they need like a plot device.
True.
So they could do that. I didn't mind. See, like I thought I would be upset about Josh not winning, but the way they've kind of build him back up kind of makes sense too. You can kind of tell he's still kind of a bit overly cocky. He's not really 100% yet. He's not dominating the same way he was dominating when he was before he left. So there's some sort of like mental or physical block there. So I think that's the story they're trying to tell. Maybe he's going to turn heel. I don't know because Shelley was more heelish in the feud. So
yeah,
I'm not sure where it's going to go, but I'm intrigued. I like it. I like it.
I thought they were doing the little handshake and he was everything on the ground. I thought he was about to low blow. I'm like, oh no.
I was expecting that too.
I was like, glad it didn't happen.
Yeah, I was a little surprised it was all wholesome, but I'm more than happy Shelley gets a longer reign because I thought he was going to be transitional to Nick Aldis, and look where everyone's at from that now.
He's told everybody I'm not going to be a fucking transitional champion. We should have listened to him, I guess. He's not lying. I mean, I'm happy about it. I'm not like I started watching like wrestling fairly late compared to you guys, so guys like Alex Shelley aren't guys I saw kind of growing up or like where he started to where he is now. But I've always appreciated his work, and I think it's amazing that like a guy that was traditionally just a tag guy, or even just like kind of a lower card guy when he first started with TNA, I guess. To finally get a reign and not just like a here you go reign, like a reign that actually means something. Because now that he's beaten Josh too, you can't call him anything but a real champion.
And it was perfectly clean, There's no
and it was. I love it because before that there was always the whole. Then they sold the match off this, of course, but the whole thing was that Josh never lost the belt, so he wasn't like the true champion unless he beat Josh. And Josh had beat him, I think, before, right?
Yeah, last year.
When Josh was champion.
Yeah, it was Shelley's first ever title challenge. They made a big deal about it the first time. He'd never won. He'd never even had a singles opportunity.
Yeah, that's a great story.
And, it was a plus pay-per-view or plus
they said it was
whatever.
Emergence.
Nice. Yeah, it was an Emergence last year.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I can totally see. Like we talked about this, and I see it in the chat here too. I could see Moose, winning the belt at Hard to Kill.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'd be pretty shocked. I mean, I was shocked Alexander didn't too, but
see, that's the thing. Now that I'm thinking about, and you've mentioned, we thought the same thing about all of this. Like,
I was shocked when Aldis lost.
He could retain again.
Macklin lost. I've not expected Shelley to win a single match on pay-per-view.
And he keeps doing it. He keeps doing it. So hey, you know. But yeah, I'm interested, man. I'm interested. I'm interested in this Moose match as well. That's at this point, I think that's fairly fresh. So I like it.
I do not believe they've ever had a match in recent memory, at least for sure. They could have had a random one.
Yeah.
But, another point I just thought of too, like kind of regarding what we were talking about earlier, with just how good Scott D'Amore has done, is the talent he's been able to like actually bring in and keep. He got Josh Moose, to sign the long-term contracts, Jordan Grace, all of them. He got them to actually sign long-term contracts for once, and he brought back both Machine Guns from retirement. They were done. They were done wrestling. And he brought
that's
them both
crazy. And look where they are now.
And now look at them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Still champions. Like that's man. It's just great to see Impact doing so well. It makes me really happy. It's I don't know. It's been a run of really awesome pay-per-views, and this match really delivered. It wasn't my favorite match on the card. Not that it was bad,
no. I mean,
but
how could it be?
Like,
yeah,
we'll get to it in a bit. Like, it's just crazy. On a different night, though, it probably would have been my favorite match because it was really good.
Yeah, because it was really good. It was definitely my second favorite. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, it was very hard hitting from the get go as well. Slower pace, but not too slow. It was still fairly methodical and like I don't know, man. When he hit the first, the heck is it called? His finisher,
the shell shock.
Shell shock. I was like,
yeah.
I thought he was gonna kick out, but then he just gonna hit another one. Like, all right, cool.
It's funny. That's Ryback's, that was Ryback's finisher's name too. The shell shock.
Oh right, it was much less cool. Much less cool.
But I kind of like that trend. It's been happening a lot, so it's kind of maybe overdone. Of like,
here's your finisher again.
Finisher, and then you're just like, no, I know it's not enough. You just do it again. It's just the dead.
I mean, it happens. It kind of did happen earlier in the night as well, but I guess at least there was a super finisher involved in that one. But really great match. I mean, again, like pretty shocking that Shelley wins, but I think it's interesting. Like you said, it's less safe, and it's interesting to see what Josh is going to do next. How pissed off is he going to be, and what is he going to use that motivation for?
There's people he can feud with on the because I assume he's not going to get Shelley right away again. We know he's wrestling Ospreay, obviously, but so like I don't know if they're just going to bring in kind of more people for him to wrestle because he kind of did it the first time he lost the belt too, and he was working his way back up, and as opposed to him really wrestling contracted Impact wrestlers. So yeah, I don't know, but it's very interesting.
I mean, we've had Shelley and Ospreay before. Like, does Ospreay not want a shot at the belt?
Really good too. Bro, did you see Ospreay like legitimately said Impact was I mean, of course he would, but he said they're a contender. He's like, I'm entertaining all options for free agency, and he said this was like a trial for Impact basically. And I mean, shit, it went well. Well, yeah. Who knows? If Scott wins over Will Ospreay,
that's going to be huge.
Like, who could ever not vote for him as like promoter of the year?
I mean, it would be.
He wins him over from New Japan, AEW, and WWE.
That would be huge.
Weirdly enough, I think I might actually put them like above WWE as far as having a shot at landing him.
I don't think he'd want to go to WWE at all because he doesn't want to leave England, and he wouldn't have to with the others. So,
and I know he's changed his mind a little. He's backed off that a little bit, but I still think that's going to be the end game for him is to still have a home.
The schedule is way too much. I feel like, especially with he says he kind of wants to tone down after this year anyway. It's why he's going so crazy on the Indies. I mean, you don't do that unless WWE gives him a good contract, easy schedule, which who knows? Yeah. Triple H might be doing that stuff. So,
I think he's just a better fit in those other companies as well.
Mm-hmm. But we can get to that match as we go down. As long as you guys don't have anything else to add about that main event.
Not really. I mean, it's one of those weird matches where it was really good, but there's not like any like crazy spots that I can remember right now, other than the finish.
I feel like there's a lot of Shelley's matches, honestly, too. Not necessarily always Josh's, because sometimes he'll do some just crazy stuff.
Yeah, he does some crazy shit.
Yeah, Shelley's are always like that, but they're always so good. Like it's like Bryan Danielson style wrestling, honestly. Like
a little bit, yeah.
Unless it's something just insanely like stupid, you really don't remember a lot of Bryan Danielson like spots in his matches. Think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. It should. It was a good match. I think before that was the women's match.
Yep.
Yep. It was the Knockouts Championship where Trinity retained against Mickey James.
That one did
her
shock
run.
me. I thought Mickey was getting it.
I thought it could have went either way. Like
Me
I was
too.
pretty,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I would have picked Trinity, but I'm not. I would have been confident either way. It's easy to say in hindsight, obviously, since she won. So I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking.
I think Sky, when she had brought up a good point when she said that, like, she thought Trinity was retaining originally because Trinity is booked for the UK show, so she's not leaving. Therefore, she's not.
100% valid.
Yeah, so like that's a very logical reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was cool. I didn't mind the match. I'd say the match was good. I wouldn't put it above that.
It was really, really good. I feel like it wasn't like Trinity's best one yet, but it was up there. Maybe like second or third best she's had like singles wise in Impact so far.
Yeah, Mickey looked pretty good too.
Yeah. It was, and the crowd was really hot too. That made it good.
I'm still very shocked at how over Trinity is. It's really,
especially in Chicago too, like especially there.
Yeah, that's true. It's the second time she's super over there. Actually, You're right. Good point. But yeah, good enough. Again, not really any like the finish was really well done. I thought it was a good transition.
Really hot. Yeah.
The middle of the match was decent. Again, nothing like I don't know. It wasn't like the most spectacular match, but it wasn't a bad match by any means. Like there wasn't any like botches or anything like that. A bit short, I guess.
Yeah, I felt like that about a couple of the matches on the card too. But like the gauntlet took up a lot of time. Obviously,
it did.
Ball and Ospreay and the main event got good time too. Yeah, this one I think it went like 12 minutes. I had the card pulled up earlier. I think it was.
Yeah, it was okay. The result was cool. I'm excited to see what's next. I mean, she's going to take on Jordan, which we will talk about later in the night.
Keeping the belt till hard to kill.
Which means that we know she's staying till at least January, which is very cool. Mm-hmm. Whether she can get through Jordan, I don't know.
Diana is challenging Trinity next at Turning Point. And but if it's like the stipulation where if Diana loses, she can't challenge Trinity again.
I don't think Diana's winning.
I would be highly doubtful because I don't think they really care to do Diana Jordan again. They've done that a lot.
I think Diana's just leaving. So, quite frankly, yeah, and I don't. Yeah, that's just the feeling I get is that she's going to either other company.
I don't think she opened the chest. She wasn't there. I don't think so.
Yeah, no. Another good point. Whereas Jordan was right, so I could see Jordan winning at Hard to Kill for sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll read those after. We'll let them chat a little bit. Yeah. So then, what was next, Chris? You were saying was it the Gauntlet?
Yeah, it was actually.
I'll let you talk about that.
I'll read these super chats. Off like the people as they came in. If we got anything to say about anyone in particular, we can. But so Jake something and Eddie Edwards started it off. Then Kenny King came out. Then we had our first surprise with Juventud Guerrera out there with his mask on.
The juice is loose.
Did he wear the mask when he was on Dynamite against Chris Jericho? I didn't think he did.
I don't think he did.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't like because like normally you're not.
I'm not sure now.
Back on because he lost it. Like forever ago in WCW. So you're not allowed to put the mask back on. No, he fucking lost the mask at that show. Powerhouse Hobbs was at. They talked about it on Dynamite, by the way. That was where he lost his mask, I believe. I looked it up that night. But I was just curious about that because I'm like, why is this guy wearing his mask again? I mean, it looks cool, but
I don't know why. I agree with this, by the way. Yeah. It's about how I feel about the women. It was really good.
I love Shane's run, but yeah, none of them were just crazy. So.
There's just so many other good matches on this card. But like honestly, I thought this specific match was also better. This match was really good.
I was surprised at how good the gauntlet was. I'm also surprised to see the whole thing lasted 28 minutes because it didn't feel that long.
Wow, really?
I love that match type. So
wow,
it just
yeah.
For me. It
felt more like 20 to me, honestly. So that's really impressive.
Johnny Swinger make his big return. He's been gone for a couple months or so.
Ooh.
Yeah, Giselle Shaw came out. Then Jody Threat, Kylan King. I thought all three of them looked good.
They did.
Knockouts.
Kylan King lasted a long time too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And then the debuting Sunny Kiss, who is apparently going to be a regular going forward. I read.
Oh yeah,
that contract was signed, but she's just going to be at least.
Yeah, we can take a second to talk about that because I think that's a fantastic pick or fit rather.
Real quick, we could talk about Bully Ray next too because she has hilarious
Oh my god!
With
Immediately they started dancing together.
That shit was great.
And then they did she did the "What's Up" spot with him.
the chat with that happened. That was great.
The crowd loved her.
What's that? Sorry, Chris.
She was super over. Like the crowd was.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, like a lot of us, like it's not a hot take. A lot of us said that Impact would be a great spot for her.
Mm-hmm.
When she didn't re-sign with AEW. I couldn't be happier for them. That's such a good spot. They were really over. I think
so many good feuds. I can already imagine.
Scott D'Amore is really good out of getting good characters out of people and building characters and building stories. Mm-hmm. So I think
how much mic time she's going to get now.
Exactly, and the roster is so much smaller. This is nothing but good news. Honestly, I think she's going to do really good in Impact. I think she might either become a mainstay there or build her way back up to one of the other big companies by
honestly,
a run here.
I hope she just stay. Like, 'cause I feel like there's no one that would use her better. Like,
I agree. I think they're going to use her fantastically. I think there's already like a few feuds in my mind that I think she would be amazing at. I would feud her with Giselle ASAP because that's money.
That's like a lot of people
money
feud anyway. So just do it.
And I just think like both characters work fantastically together. It's
Trinity would be great.
Sure.
Honestly, I don't know if she like want to go for the Knockouts title as opposed to like the men's title, but
that's a good question. We don't know. We don't know that.
It doesn't matter at Impact too. Like
no, it doesn't at all.
Literally, they let her do both. So that's why I know. Like just a very little aside. I wish Max and Impeller would go to Impact too, because like NWA is just put him in the women's division, which is fine. It's been kind of entertaining, but Impact they can do both.
Yeah, honestly, like it's
so awesome.
There's a few people like even like they signed with AEW, but Billy Starks would have been a fantastic fit in Impact as well because she likes to wrestle both like genders. That's why Masha's so good, right?
Of it. Yeah, this match was great because of all those interactions. This is probably the best the Knockouts have ever been treated. Not just Jordan, obviously she was the first one to win it. I think she was the first one to get the last two.
Right, she won.
But like all of them looked really good.
No, you're right. Like none of the women were made to look like a joke at all. They all look like serious threats. It was awesome. I mean, Dango got like fucked up. Did the spot where he didn't even get into the ring, so that was great.
Also, good credit too. We already mentioned he came out. I wasn't going down the list, but Bully Ray like sold really good for everyone.
He did.
I feel like he did great this match. He got like multiple people over in this match.
Yeah. So no wrestling. Virtuoso was not in the video package.
Yeah, I did not believe so.
But yeah, sorry. Go ahead, please.
One of my favorite things in the thing was how fast Dango got out. Like he was in and then out. Like,
bro, that was so funny.
I was like,
they made such a thing about him getting the last slot, and then he just did like the bushwhackers.
We don't know if it's a one-off, but Cardona showed up. That's also big news.
He's actually right after Bully Ray. He showed up and he went right into fighting Bully Ray too because they've just been feuding for like a year now everywhere.
That's true. That's a good point.
I kind of think it'll be a one-off. I think
probably
going to be. He hasn't signed a contract with them. I believe not because I don't think he wants to with anyone still. But he looks pretty tied down with MLW at least like as far as like taking up his time.
He's got some dates
over there by the way too. They might even make him world champion. I can see it. I think he's challenging next at least. But yeah, Cardona's back looked good. Reunited with Myers, who came out a little later.
Till he threw him out.
I got a big pop, like that they're still friends. Yeah, and then he threw him out. Let's see who. Jordan Grace came out next, who was the eventual winner, as we talked about. Then you had Eric Young was in there. Joe Hendry back using his old theme song again since Yo Amora is gone. No more Joya. Yeah, Joya. That's what they call it. Let's see who else we got. Brian Myers came out, as we mentioned.
Yeah.
Heath was in there. I don't really remember anything notable there.
Because there wasn't anything.
Yeah, Frankie Kazarian, Rich Swann, and Jonathan Gresham. I remember Gresham was trying to throw Jordan Grace out at one time, and she got all in his face.
Yeah, she told him she probably, made a few threats, and then he got put back in his place.
Popped commentary really hard,
and then got thrown out. promptly afterwards.
Dirty Dango was the last one. It's so funny too. I saw on Twitter they showed a clip of the former Vladimir Kozlov, Oleg. What's his last name? Prudiv, Oleg Prudiv, I think. Prudiev, something like that. They showed him, in the gauntlet or whatever, but his Twitter name is still WWE Kozlov. Like, bro, it's so long. It's been like a fucking decade.
He ain't never changing it.
This guy, he probably doesn't want to change it because he still gets more followers with that name.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. But yeah, the match was really fun.
Subject of Diana, though, this is a good point, though. She is in the banner, though, so that is a good point. Maybe she just couldn't film the lake scene. Maybe she was busy.
She wasn't at the pay-per-view at all, right?
She wrestled in a dark match that I assume they will be
playing. Oh, okay. Okay.
Actually, I don't believe it was advertised to be a dark match. I thought it was supposed to just be on the pre-show. And it was right before the 30-minute one.
Oh, right. There was supposed...
Yeah. There was a knockouts tag title match.
Yeah. There was supposed to be what the heck are they called?
Like
MK Ultra?
MK Ultra, yeah. I feel like they did this last time and then they just aired it on like BTI or something.
Probably.
So I don't know if that's the plan.
Makes some sense.
I feel like it was on purpose. I don't think it was a botch or anything. I think it was a little miscommunication.
It could happen. It happens. Yeah. It was unfortunate because that was actually like one of the match I was the most excited about on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I was actually pretty happy. I was like, well, that's a good way to get them on the card at least, even if it's kind of a little thrown together.
But yeah, I mean, I'm a big, MK
as long as I get to watch
great.
it somehow, I'm fine with it.
Who are they fighting again?
BTI or Impact? It was Deanna and I believe Savannah Evans. Oh, I got it right here. Yeah, Savannah Evans. Oh, Tasha Steelz. My bad.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Savannah Evans is a heel.
I mean, we got the names. Like
no worries.
Former partners.
Right, Tasha. Yeah, Tasha was supposed to be on the tape. Oh well.
Yeah, as long as it's on the BTI or Impact, I'm good with it. I probably won't seek it out if they just upload it on YouTube though.
Yeah, hopefully, like you're right, and it's like a 30-minute like BTI match, like a full 30 minutes kind of thing. They just gave them a bunch of time.
Let me see if they got on the match. They don't have a time, obviously. Yeah, it wasn't broadcast. Makes sense.
But Jordan won by pinning Bully Ray with the Jordan driver, and that was pretty awesome. They had a short match.
No-sold it. He got up right after, but I mean, shit, I can't say anything. He took it, so whatever.
Yeah.
Do whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I found he was doing the like, I'm much bigger than you, no selling thing a bit too much because like.
Yeah.
Jordan's a fucking tank
versus Warrior. It was so funny. It was like identical to Hogan versus Warrior.
Yeah, that's fair. It was probably more that than anything. Than like, but I was like, you don't need to do this. Like, she's super strong. Like, you just wrestle a regular ass match.
Yeah,
but it was still fun. It was still good, and it was a short match. So like, that shit didn't overstay its welcome or anything like that. So it was fine. I'm glad. And then Jordan called her shot for Hard to Kill right away, and that she confirmed that she is going to be going for the women's title, for the Knockouts title. So that's cool too. And yeah, so now we know we've got that versus, I guess for now, Trinity, unless she loses at Turning Point. But I don't think she's going to be losing at Turning Point. Turning Point. So. Major championships don't change hands that often at these B shows, so it's always possible, but it's unlikely.
Yeah, like Shelley did win his, but
so it's unlikely, but
it was so shocking.
Exactly. So what's next?
Oh, it's actually so now we're at Speedball Mike Bailey, which I assume is everyone's match of the night.
Yes,
I needed a smoke after this match. I saw you said you needed water, so you're in the same boat. Bro. Holy fuck, man! This match.
That's one thing I want to point out before we get really into the match. Like all of these matches Ospreay has had this year in all these companies, they're always so hyped going in because of who he's against, and because he's Will Ospreay, and they always exceed the expectation, that's the most impressive part. Like,
I'm just gonna say, like, if you don't think that Will Ospreay is like the best wrestler in the world, right? Like, I'm not talking about like of all time, like fucking Danielson. I'm talking about like strictly like with the amount of matches and the quality of matches. Like, there is nobody on this dude's level right now, and it's not even close.
The best output of any wrestler right now. Like every match you watch of him,
consistent.
No matter what show it's on, no matter how many fans are there or who he's against, like it's gonna be really good.
Yeah, literally, it doesn't matter if he's in front of 1,000 or 80,000. He's going to literally put on the best show on the card. Even with Jericho was amazing. I thought that match ruled as an aside, but this match, it was like you said, it was exactly what I expected and more. So it absolutely overexceeded my expectations.
They hit even harder than I expected.
They did, and they didn't even like start slow. They just like they just fucking went into it right away.
Mm-hmm.
Started at like an 8 speed wise. They're both so fast, and Will Ospreay is so precise. They had a section where they were like countering each other's kicks with kicks.
Oh, that was great.
Oh man!
Where Ospreay like finished with that hidden blade, and then they were all down for a little bit.
Yeah,
that was the most insane sequence.
He hit some absolutely disgusting hidden blades in this match. That just like looked like he absolutely murdered Speedball, but Speedball was the air he got on the Omega weapon was fucking stupid. So that got kicked out of. A few hidden blades, I think, got kicked out of or like rolled out of the ring. There was also
some like Ospreay, like that one Ospreay was just down forever, never even went.
There was also another Misawa Tiger Driver.
Yeah, Storm Driver. I don't remember the year though. 93, so it's like the year he was born. I don't know.
Either way, it was disgusting. It was still not as bad as the one he did to Kenny, though.
No, it wasn't as bad, but
it was still pretty bad. It was awesome. I
knew Ospreay won already, so I'm shocked that wasn't the finish when I was watching live. When he hit it, I kind of assumed it would be.
I mean, like it was. He just hit the Stormbreaker right after.
Yeah.
He's just like he didn't make the same mistake he made with Kenny, where he just went for the pin. He's like, I'm just gonna hit my finisher again. It was a brutal sequence of moves.
Mm-hmm.
There was also the fucking Oz cutter on the outside of the ring, where like it looked so much worse for Ospreay. Like he took such a gnarly bump on that.
Yeah,
isn't that when the crowd started chanting both these guys? I think right after that.
Yeah, that was crazy. The crowd was the crowd was the hottest it was all night for this match, and rightfully so. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, what do you guys go ahead and say more things about this match?
Well,
I feel like it was one of the best striking matches I've seen in so long, or at least like specifically kicks. Like,
oh my god,
like it all made so much sense. Like, and the counters were like realistic. Like you're watching like an actual like fucking martial arts movie, like a good one, not a cheesy one even.
Yeah,
like
when they both roundhouse kicked each other at the exact same time. That was really nice.
Yeah. And that they had to throw I forget what they're exactly called, but Ospreay does it a lot, where it's more like a hooking kick. It might be called a hook kick, but instead of a regular super kick where he kind of has that arc on it, like they had to both like kind of go for more of those because the straight kicks were what were getting countered. You had to come at the weird angles. Like it was, I thought that was really cool. Like kind of kicking psychology, which you don't see a lot of in wrestling. You see a lot of kicks, but not kicking psychology. The only thing I really want to see that you've never seen in wrestling is like leg kicks, like they'll do in the UFC, where someone's leg really starts getting fucked up.
Yeah,
as they keep getting hit with it. That's the shit I want to see make it over to wrestling. It's actually very entertaining in MMA.
To answer Wrestling Smart in the chat, I believe Sunny Kiss goes by whatever you want. They don't really care.
Yeah.
Yes. Originally, or I think forever she said whatever you want, but recently she's like kind of just been using she herself.
She? Okay, there you go.
So, yeah. But she still says like it's whatever. Like
yeah, ambiguous. Doesn't really. It's not a huge
You're
deal.
not going to be wrong necessarily. Whatever you say.
Oh yeah, and like on a personal level, I don't really care which division she's in or both. And like you said earlier, I think Impact, because they're kind of like there's the digital media division, which is essentially intergender, so
X
can fit right in there.
Before. Never had a female champion, I believe, but had challengers.
Yeah, and Grace challenged for the men's championship at one point, I believe, right? Has she?
She did X Division for sure.
X Division, okay, okay.
Tessa Blanchard did win that.
Yeah. I do remember that. Yeah,
but I believe Grace has had world title opportunities. If anything, like number one contender opportunities. At
the very least, it feels like she has. But yeah,
and she's won the digital media title herself. So
I like that digital title. It's a fun
It's a very fun floating auxiliary belt. You can kind of do wacky stuff if you want. Have like good feuds with guys you just don't have anything else for. Like it's versatile.
It's like a good version of the 24/7 title, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
Minus the like you can challenge anytime, but yeah, it's just like a very low card title that's actually fun. Which match were we on? Were we still on the? Oh, we were on the speedball.
I mean, I don't really have much else to talk
it was just
about.
crazy. Just go out and watch this match.
Yeah. It was one of my favorite matches of the year. Honestly, like I feel like I'm saying this every week we do a show about some match or another.
It's 2023 years been a good year.
I don't think it was better than like Osprey Sabre. I will say that since they were recent enough that it's easier to compare. But they're also very different. Like if I could definitely see some people thinking this one was better because they're so different. It is kind of hard to compare in that regard. I mean, like if being realistic. I think I would have to say like top 10 at best match of this year. Though.
Yeah, it's something. I mean,
which is insane.
It depends on what you like, right? Like if you really
it might
like,
not be top 5 Osprey match.
It might not be, honestly, and that's a crazy ass thing to say.
Speedball. No, it probably is Speedball.
It probably is.
Match of the year, but he's had some really good ones too. I feel like I feel like there was a Speedball.
Well, he had Ibushi.
Like,
that one was really good.
That was insane.
I like this one better though.
I did too.
I think I'd go this one.
This one was really good, especially if you like that kind of like spot foo kind of shit, right? Like if you like spot for spot indie style, but like done at a like supreme level, right? Because this is like.
I will say again, there was a lot of psychology in it as far as what moves
there was
countered and what they were getting through. It was like the basic stuff was countered every time. They had to pull out something different. It was really cool.
I mean, even the finish was just like a big counter off of the Flamingo driver, and that was it. He got caught. He got caught once, and that was it. But yeah, even if you don't like these kinds of matches, I think anybody should watch this match. It's a must-see watch match for me. Like, you just have to watch it.
The crowd's really hot too. Which again, any match where the crowd's hot, I feel like I almost always recommend.
Yeah, of course, it's a great atmosphere, right? Like. Before that, we had. I want to say, Sorry, please.
Yeah. I was trying to say when y'all were mentioning earlier about how great Osprey was this year. I was about to say during that time, like he might be wrestler of the year right now. Definitely. I mean,
absolutely.
Like, if you look at a lot of the match of the year candidates, he's in a good majority of them also. So,
I agree with you. Any metric that's not kayfabe, I think he should be in the conversation.
And even a kayfabe metric, like he beat Okada, he beat Kenny,
and Jericho.
True.
Yeah. I know that doesn't mean as much these days, but still. I think he beats. I feel like he beat one other person that I'm forgetting.
I think he's beat Naito this year.
He might, just not at that
earlier in the year.
In the year, yeah. But he's beaten a lot of people. Either way, he's having a special year, and he's going to make a lot of money next year.
Yeah.
Just say
good
that.
for him. He's getting that bag.
He is getting that bag, as the kids say. What we got next, Christopher?
That would be the tag team match
for
the World Tag Team titles, which was Chris Bay and Ace Austin cashing in I believe it was Chris Bay had the Feast or Fire briefcase out of the two.
He did.
Yes.
I believe it's also their second reign as champions. I don't think it's third. I think it's their second. I'm getting some Revolver reigns mixed in since these two had feuds there too.
Sure, that's fair enough.
But great match. I thought too. It actually got just under 10 minutes, which kind of shocks me. But I mean, it was really fast paced now that I think back on it.
It was
really good. I was just hot the whole time. Love the finish too. That was awesome.
Yeah, good psychology on the finish. Good storytelling from the spray can. I wish I didn't watch AEW sometimes because it's like the same exact angles as the Riot Squad, or not Riot Squad. Sorry.
Oh,
wow, my bad. I forget their name right now. The Outcasts.
Yes.
There you go. I got there. And like it doesn't even really matter who started first. It's just a lot of the same stuff. So it's annoying. I do think that like these guys do it better because like the spray painting of the belt is cool. So that's a cool gimmick.
Yeah, I do like that.
The match was awesome. I also think it's the right winner, and I think this feud needs to be done. I like this feud, but
I only fight so many times, but you just got to branch them out every now and then. You can always come back to it.
Yeah, because it just feels like it's been inevitable that the belts are going back on Bullet Club. For me, at least, like from an outside, it feels like it's been in a holding pattern for a while. So
Yeah, they just kept getting screwed. And, Scott's a good booker. He's not going to just screw people over and over again without, like,
and then without a payoff,
Yeah.
you can see that stuff coming, right? So right winners, I think that team rules. I'm not sure where they're gonna go from there, but I'm interested. I'm assuming they're probably gonna have a match with the new team they brought in there that was just champ for a short period, or are they done?
Oh, Subculture.
Yeah, I could see
The
them
UK
having
team. They're booked on the UK tour for sure. Yeah, so they're still around.
probably going to be a defense during the UK tour. Then that would be logical. I don't know what else they could do. I mean, with the return of TNA, it's who knows. They might bring back some other tag teams. You could have them go up against Motor City Machine Guns again. I'm sure it's
Yeah,
always an
always
option.
just team them too, which is nice.
Josh could join the tag.
Moose and Myers are still a tag team at the moment. But,
That's true.
Probably obviously going to be focused on other things.
I didn't even know there was a tag team at all.
I mean, yeah, I prefer them not.
World's most professional wrestling god.
That is a great fucking name.
Song and everything, or at least it's like a mashup or something.
Oh man, that's funny.
You
got a t-shirt.
I was slightly probably leaning toward the Rascals, but I wasn't like mad either way because I like both teams. So,
I kind of want what's his name to do something else anyways than tagging NX division. I think it's time for him to go to the heavyweight division anyways.
Which one, Trey?
Trey, yeah, Trey. Yeah. I think it's time.
Yeah, I could
honestly same with Ace, but yeah, honestly, like Wes is good enough too, but yeah, they're both really good, but I don't know. I feel like he's been doing the same thing for a while, so I wouldn't mind seeing him against different people.
Well, they are bringing in Myron Reed too, I believe, for the
okay. Interesting.
Today, maybe I'm not 100% sure, but
so some 6-man stuff.
Rascals, yeah, so
interesting. Okay. Yeah. We were talking about the match. It was pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I don't even think there was really a bad match on the card at all. So
no, there wasn't.
Yeah, so we're gonna move on to the second match of the night, which was the Monsters Ball, which was just crazy. And
might actually be my second favorite match of the night. Actually,
it was really good. Everyone was locked in a room, no food, water, or sunlight for 24 hours. And then you had Moose, Rhino, and Steve Macklin all came out, already beating each other up before PCO comes out. Unfair advantage, honestly. Maybe you want one. But
it might be. It might be.
There was barbed wire. There was tacks. I mean, what else?
Tacks on concrete, bro.
They didn't have fire. Yeah, on concrete. It was insane. Bully got involved and sent Macklin into a board of barbed wire that just looked ridiculously painful. And that basically took Macklin out, and then PCO ended up winning.
Speaking of PCO, I like when he was he came out of his little room he was in. My dad's like, "Is he a zombie?"
Yes.
Basically, he's Frankenstein.
I mean, he is not human.
He's the monster,
that we know. That we know.
And that, for all we know, that may have been PCO's last Impact match.
Yeah, it could have been. I
don't know if he's booked on like the tapings today as like a send-off, maybe.
I'm not sure.
They do that a lot, so he could be. But yeah, so interesting they did give him the win, even though he is leaving the company. He's confirmed. So,
but hold on, maybe he's leaving Impact, but signing with TNA. You never know.
If he tests the waters and they don't work out, he could spin it that way.
I mean, testing the waters. I mean, what's there to test?
I don't know. If AEW or WWE isn't calling you, like, what are you going to do? Go to MLW?
I mean, I can't see WWE being interested whatsoever.
I cannot.
AEW.
We're barely interested in the 90s.
AEW maybe for Montreal, like for the show in Montreal.
Yeah, like a one-off. Like I don't think I'd want PCO in AEW.
I don't mind it as like a one-off against John Moxley or something. That'd be fine.
I mean, if like for comedy, you could just stick him with like Jay Lethal's group just to make it even wackier. That'd be kind of funny.
Oh man. him and what's his name as the two.
Having debut as a heel, being controlled by them, and you have the big face break off.
Why are we talking about this? I don't want it.
The short-term hot angle you could do.
I don't.
Especially Montreal's booked when you do the turn.
Yeah, I guess I was just gonna say just a match and then that's it. But I guess we can. I mean, that would be really good though. You're selling me on this, and I hate it.
I don't even want it myself.
but it would be good, right?
Oh man, yeah, you could do something. You just have to do like exactly these things though. Like anything else, I'm not gonna like. That's the issue.
Yeah,
you got to book exactly what I just said.
It has to be some gimmick bullshit, or else it's gonna be. But I mean, you got to book them like Impact does.
Yeah.
Honestly, and that's one thing I will say. Like,
I like Impact's booking better than Ring of Honor was at the end.
Yep.
For sure, I'd say
they booked him
like terrible or anything there, but
did he? I mean, did he win the world championship?
He did do that. I mean, afterwards at the end, like after the whole, I don't know why he won that title.
I don't know either. There's some weird. Like I know, like people like.
It was only for like a month too, and Roosh won it right back.
There was some odd booking of ROH at that time.
They were desperate at times. Like, what can you do?
But yeah, like I don't know. I really like this match. It had some. PCO took like a power bomb on the concrete onto Tax, and then had Tax out of his skull, which was insane.
Yeah.
That was gnarly. There was some story development in this match too. Bully Ray came out and screwed over Macklin as well and pushed him onto the barbed wire table, I believe.
Yeah,
they might stretch that all the way to Hard to Kill, and that's Macklin versus Bully. But I don't know. They could definitely do it sooner too.
They could do that Turning Point.
The schedule is going to be so weird, I think, going forward that it's hard to predict too.
Well, because Turning Point is very soon, and then there's a large gap until Hard to Kill, right?
Yeah, and they
large, like a month.
Throwdown. I think in between they just have like the throwback throwdown, and they're doing some show in Mexico, I believe. I don't think it's just a TV taping, but it might be on Fight too, or on Plus, either one.
Yeah,
and you might know this, Chris, because I asked it last night. Because listen, I don't watch enough. Is Bully a face now?
Not really. He's kind of just now turning. Like this, that was it. Kind of may have been his actual turn. Was doing that because he's been just having issues with Macklin. Macklin's been calling him soft. He did do the Team 3D reunion, which was like obviously like a one-night face thing, but I mean, yeah, he was like working with Macklin before. That was their whole thing, and then they had issues, and so yeah, he's basically like turning face.
So that's what I thought, because like when he came out, there was like, wait, like last I remember they were like together.
The issue is Macklin was calling him soft, and he got very offended.
Yeah, this is where that's what, because I believe Macklin wanted Bully Ray to attack Tommy Dreamer. I think it was Tommy Dreamer.
I think it could have been
either Dreamer or somebody else. He wanted to attack him because Macklin didn't get, or no, he wanted to attack Moose, didn't he? Because he wanted his briefcase.
Yeah, I think it was.
That's where it comes from. Yeah, because
like, what the fuck does that have to do with me?
Yeah, because Macklin got tackled and lost the briefcase and it fell into Moose's hands outside of the ring, and that's how Moose won. And he was trying to get, like, for some reason, I don't know why he was asking Bully Ray to talk to Moose. That part I don't remember.
Like, it was very
do it yourself.
Entitled by Macklin.
But like Bully's like, I don't know why. Like, no, I'm not like fighting this dude for you. Like, Macklin's definitely the heel here. Macklin's a kind of a jerk. But I like Mac. Yeah, he's great. He's great. But
bro, he was so intense at that Revolver show last weekend. When I went, like, dude's scary. He was in a match with Archer and this other like big local guy. I forget his name, but oh my god,
he was just going ham in there, raging out. Oh man, it's a cool character. But yeah, it was kind of shocking to see PCO win. Really cool that he potentially getting a win on his send off. Yeah, just nothing wrong with that match at all. It was awesome. Like I said, it might have been my second favorite match of the pay-per-view. Just how crazy and how many cool spots it had. It was very entertaining. Yeah, and we got the first match of the night, which was
the X Division title, where Chris Sabin retained against Kenta. I thought it was good. It was good for an opener. Nothing crazy. One of the better Kenta matches I've seen this year. Yeah,
you never know what you're gonna get with Kenta in 2023. That's a fair statement. I missed a bit of the first part of the match, but what I did see was good. I mean, it was nothing special. Nothing shocking about the winner either.
True.
At
No,
all.
it was a good attraction to bring a
Good way to get the crowd hot.
Valkyrie.
You know.
Yeah, it was okay. It was nice to see Kenta. I mean, I thought, oh, he trolled CM Punk, which was pretty great.
Yeah, I missed that part.
He did the like. He kept teasing it, and then he went. It's just the classic Kenta stuff. He's a jerk.
Then he went for the GTS and lost.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been messing around. He should have just been focusing on the match.
That's great.
But it was good stuff. Was there a pre-show match? I don't believe there was. It was a pre-show ceremony.
Yeah, it was a Hall of Fame ceremony.
It was really good.
Tracy Brooks first, and who was inducted by Gil Kim, and then Mike Tenay and Don West inducted by Scott D'Amore.
Yeah, that's what I more want to talk about.
That's like Mike Tenay's first. He doesn't do like any wrestling appearances. He'll go to some of the Hall of Fame, like those old school wrestling Hall of Fame shows every now and then.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do like any podcasts. He doesn't go on anyone's radio show. He does nothing. Like he's out of the business. He's enjoying retirement. So, and apparently they've asked Tenay solo like a lot in the past, like to get a Hall of Fame induction. He's always like turned it down, but this time he said yeah, like because this time they asked like if it was him and Don together. Yeah,
and then he could talk about Don. It was both speeches were awesome. But the Scott D'Amore and then the Tenay speeches back to back, I thought were just really classy, really well done. Tenay still has like that perfect diction. He sounded so good.
Exactly the same. Yeah,
I know, it was amazing. Oh, easily could. Oh, it was. And I'm not even a mark of that era, right? Like I didn't grow up watching it like you guys did, but like the voice is still iconic just from the clips that I've seen so many times, right? Yeah. Like I've seen so many of the clips and the gifs as well, right? Of the facial expressions and the high five and I love that. And are you freaking kidding me call as well? Like everything is so good, man. Like they talk, the way they talked about Dawn, I thought was perfect. And you brought it up too, like they were talking about the TNA stuff and like knowing what we know now. Scott knew what he was hyping up.
Oh my god, you could so tell during the speech. Like,
now that you already knew, you're so giddy inside. And that's why.
Honestly, the TNA, I guess it's still the Impact Hall of Fame for now, but it's like got really prestigious names in it. Like when it first started, everyone's like, "Really? Why do you have one already? You don't need one." And it was weird, like the way they were inducting some people at first. But now looking back, like it is a good Hall of Fame for TNA, like and of the people that should be in it. And it's just
I mentioned there in the chat last night that they need to call WWE and get AJ. Like, hey, we need to borrow AJ.
Oh, he'll be in it. Like, just give it some time. Like that.
As soon as AJ retires, he'll be in there. No problem.
Yeah, and I don't think WWE would have any issue letting him do it.
I doubt it.
But they've let AJ do videos for Impact even recently. So.
Then they let oh wait, no, I don't think so. I was thinking didn't they let somebody do something for ROH, but I think it was the other way around. I think it might have been. I think it might have been WWE that got AEW person on their show.
They had Jericho on
Cena's Jericho on something. Yeah, was it a Cena thing? Yeah,
that's what
I think there was even someone else in maybe Big Show or someone, maybe Mark Henry, one of those guys.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, the Jericho one was clearly after like his match at whatever pay-per-view was like right before that too.
But yeah, like let me just look at this TNA Hall of Fame. I'll read them off in the order that they're inducted. So in 2012 was the first year. That was Sting. Respectable. He was still an active wrestler. That's why it was kind of weird, but respectable. Definitely Hall of Famer. 2013, same deal. Still an active wrestler.
Kurt Angle.
Yeah. So, great though. He's 100% TNA Hall of Famer right there. 2015 was Jeff Jarrett and Earl Hebner. Like Jeff Jarrett, 100%
still active wrestlers though.
Yeah, and then Earl Hebner. I mean, he was their main referee for a very long time, so and he'll never be in the WWE Hall of Fame. So good for him. Like, even though he should be in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Is that because of screw job?
No.
I think the
He
shirt
had it
gang.
for that, if anything. He got fired for selling bootleg merchandise.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's pretty. I respect the hustle.
Him and his brother both, who was also a ref for TNA afterwards. They were both reps in WWE first.
That's
Brian,
hilarious.
Or not his brother, his son. And I believe his brother was involved too, who was a retired.
Oops.
But, yeah, anyway. In 2016, you have Gail Kim, who's their greatest knockout ever. So 100%, great one. They took a year off in 2017, apparently.
No,
Dark
I
Ages,
think that's probably under
it.
the group thing. Then it was Team 3D that year, wasn't it?
Not quite. Wait, I feel like Team 3D should have happened by now. Did I skip them? Oh, they're separately because it lists the tag team separate.
Yeah.
Okay. Then yeah, we'll get to them after at the end. Tag teams are listed separately. I was like, they're definitely earlier. But anyway, 2018 was Abyss, so that's a great one. Abyss was a great guy for TNA, especially behind the scenes too. Even after later on, now he's doing good stuff behind the scenes with WWE apparently, so that's cool too. 2020's Ken Shamrock, which he didn't do a lot, but he was the first champion under the banner ever. Even though it was NWA
And we got the Rock on
as someone who
career resurgence at the time, so it was cool. And The Rock inducted him. The Rock appeared on TNA TV.
Okay, well that's insane. That's batshit crazy. I didn't know that. That's insane.
Still, it was during a pandemic. What else was he gonna do?
Yeah, fair enough. And it was funny because it was like right around the time they did that Tangerine Survivor that he didn't do shit for.
Yeah, he did not show up.
That was around the same time as the Survivor Series thing. That's so funny.
That was like the next year.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
He filmed a pre-tape and made an appearance on Impact Wrestling.
What a bastard!
The Rock. He was even listed as The Rock, not Dwayne Johnson, I believe.
The Rock.
Yeah. In 2021, you had Awesome Kong, which is another, just like El Cam, like one of the original
slam dunk
knockouts they ever had. Yeah. 22 is Raven. That's a little bit more of a deep cut, I'd say, but he was very beneficial in their earlier history. I'd say the early Spike days, because he didn't really last that long once they got to Spike,
right?
Especially the time before it in the weekly pay per view and I think it was more the Fox Sports days in between the Spike and the weekly pay per view era. Which I mean, they did both at the same time for a little bit, but I think it was around that time, like your 2004, 2003 ish, that Raven was real big, and he probably very helpful for the company from what I've seen, which hasn't been a lot though. And then 23, you had Tracy Brooks too as a solo inductee this year. That's a good one. I think that's more of a backstage kind of thing too, especially the way Gail was talking, because I didn't realize it. Well, I think I did. It kind of like reminded me as Gail was talking about it. She did a lot backstage. She literally worked as rep at times when they needed refs. She was obviously a manager. She did wrestle when she needed to, even though it was not her strong suit. She, helped so much backstage. Like she's basically like the knockouts, like locker room mom, like helping with like transportation and like makeup and all that stuff. So yeah, I think that there's a lot more like behind the scenes, and obviously she is considered the original knockout too. That's always been her nickname. She was basically the first long-term woman ever. Gail was there just right after too, to be fair, but it was always just Tracy. I think it was her heel nickname. Honestly, is why she's always been called it.
Yeah, it's a good marker.
Yeah, we'll get to Team 3D now too, which was 2014. So they still did take 2017 off. Interesting.
That's weird.
Yeah, but so obviously, Bully Ray, Devon. Arguably the greatest tag team of all time. They're WWE and TNA Hall of Famers, so that's cool. And then Mike Tenay and Don West also together.
17, I think, was the year they were like really broke. So that might be why.
I imagine that is why they did not do a Hall of Fame.
That's probably why. When they did all those like really cheap free shows in Canada or whatever, I'm pretty sure that was that year. So that makes sense. And they got their belt stolen and everything. Great pay-per-view though. Like, holy crap. I feel like I say this after every like pay-per-view show.
Just out of curiosity, I looked up Bound for Glory 2017, since there's no Hall of Fame or anything, see what it was. Main event was Eli Drake retaining the Impact Global Championship against Johnny Impact.
It was
Eli Drake with Chris Adonis in his corner. The former Chris Masters.
Yeah.
It actually looks like a damn good card. Abyss beat Grado in a Monsters Ball match? Why is Taiji Ishimori facing Tyson Ducks in this card?
Tyson Ducks? Wow. I haven't heard that name in a while. I haven't heard that in a while. Holy jeez.
It was only a 5-minute match.
But that's around. That's the
Yeah.
same year that like what's his name
It
like
was in
no
Ottawa,
sold.
bro.
Yeah,
650 people.
I remember because there was I've said this story before, but there was literal ads in the paper about people going to go for free.
We have a little bit of extra time. Let me just read this full card because it's actually insane. So in Ottawa, in front of 650 people, this is Bound for Glory, the biggest show of the year. It looks good, but it's just crazy. So in the X Division match, Trevor Lee, who is Cameron Grimes, if you don't remember, retained against Desmond Xavier, Garza Jr., who is what's his WB name?
Angel Garza.
Angel Garza.
Matt Seidel, P.D. Williams, and Sanjay Dutt. Taiji Ishimori beat Tyson Dux and only lasted 5 minutes. Abyss beat Grotto in a Monsters Ball match. And since Grado lost, his work visa was terminated. He was forced to leave the United States.
The fuck kind of stimulation is that?
Even though the match is in Canada.
Then in a 6-man tag, Team Impact, who was EC3, Eddie Edwards, and James Storm, beat Team AAA, who was El Hijo del Fantasma, which is Santos Escobar, Pagano, and Texano. Those are big name AAA guys. And then in a street fight, a 5150 street fight, OVE, which is Dave and Jake Chris, retained the tag titles against LAX, Santana, and Ortiz. And in a 3-way for the Impact Knockouts title, Gil Kim beat Sienna, who is Allison Kay, and Ali, which is obviously the bunny. And then in a 6 sides of steel cage match tag, Lashley and King Mo, it just says North American Top Team.
I remember this King Mo.
And Stephen Bonner. RIP, by the way.
Right.
And then the main event was Eli Jake retaining the Impact Global Championship against Johnny Impact in a match that went 19 minutes and 30 seconds. So
this was Global Force era, right?
It was called Impact Global, and they were in a very weird in between, I believe. The pay-per-view was branded as Impact still, though. I'm gonna see what. I'm just curious. I'm gonna see what the cage match rating was for that match. The main event. This company has came a long way. Is the point? Yeah. Because that card even looks great, but what
600 people, like, yeah. And like,
I don't know what the attendance was for this one. It probably wasn't crazy high or anything, but
it still looked a lot better. It looked a lot better.
The main event does not have enough total votes for
slightly after. Yeah. Slightly after Global Force.
So nice. It only has four ratings on Cage Match, so it doesn't have an overall rating. This is the biggest show of the year in 2017.
Dude, I don't want to be insulted, but like I was just getting back into wrestling at the time, and like me and my friends,
me too.
Me and my friends, I'm not gonna lie, we were trolling about this show pretty hard.
I didn't start watching WWE properly again until early 2018 before Mania, but I was back on the Wrestling Sparks. I was back on the website.
Yeah,
just not watching wrestling, just chatting with people. So I was seeing stuff about everything though, and I started watching WWE properly. But I am watching things besides WWE for a while. It's because I was seeing shit like this.
But that's exactly. Like
for the event on Cage Match is a 420 though.
Nice. We got a little bit of time left. We can talk a little bit about other events, I guess. We can talk about this match that they announced on Battle of the Belts because it's stupid in the best of ways. So I'll preface as to what happened since you didn't watch the show yet. But so between the end of Collision and the beginning of Battle of the Belts, like Orange Cassidy starts coming out, but
I saw it ended with a big swing from show to
show. So Moxley had just made his comeback. Mox made his comeback. Is another news at the end of Collision. So they're crossing paths, and OC literally like shoulder bumps.
He shoulder bumped the fuck out of it.
He did. Yeah. Very, very uncharacteristic move by Orange Cassidy, I might add. And then like
different.
He has, and then they got into like some like beef. They're like, there's some pie facing going on. It was actually like very realistic looking. I actually really enjoyed this segment
because he's really good about that kind of stuff.
Probably because he's not faking.
Yeah, well, people make fun of like his punches looking fake sometimes, and they definitely were a lot worse back in the day too. But when it's like that kind of like scuffles, like the holdback brawls, he has. But yeah, it's also because he really will just pie face you, and you take it and you give it back, and he's cool with it.
Yeah, he loves it. He loves that shit. I love that segment. Anyway, that's how it started. And then they're doing an interview in the back later in the show, and Cassie is like, "You got it, Moxley. You got in my face. Your friends got in my face. Claudio, you got in my face. Danielson, you got in my face. I don't care about." just takes a fucking stray at Yuta, and then he's like, "So how about next week? You, Danielson and Claudio, you meet me in the ring, and I'll bring Okada." Out of nowhere, just like that, just slamming his meat on the table, as they say. Just crazy shit, man. I can't like this. Okada's first match on television on AW weekly television. So that's awesome.
It is, right? I wasn't 100% sure on that.
No, he's never had a match. He had his only, I think his only other appearance. He had an
advertised appearance before, and he had an unadvertised appearance, I know for sure, too. Yeah. I know one time they advertised he'd be there, and then one time I think it was just like a shock that he showed up. We were all kind of
the first time.
Forbidden Door, right? I think.
Yes. Yeah. He showed up to save Hangman Adam Page, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
From Adam Cole and Switchblade.
Out of nowhere, you just hear that coin drop, and the crowd went crazy.
Dude, I went fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's a like pop. I went back and watched just like a few times.
Yeah, me too. It's all the coin drop's amazing. So that's happening.
Was ahead of the Danielson and Okada match, and it's kind of funny because the segment itself, now that I think about it, was almost the same as the first one where he showed up, but this time it was like advertised that he'd be in the building at least.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But yeah, he's never wrestled on AWTV. This match is like, what do you even say?
Yeah, it's awesome. Especially for a Dynamite. And that Dynamite's like honestly loaded with like a lot of like nice variety, I feel like.
Yeah.
Some stuff like, if you're not high on something, you probably are high on like the other thing. Because it is like multiple like kind of more niche stuff, but it's just different segments though of it, which is good. That should theoretically draw in.
It's a buffet, right?
Yeah,
especially Dynamite.
That's what I want from AEW. That's what I like because that's why I watch all these different companies. I'm fine if you're a company and you want to do your own thing that's kind of the same every match, but I'm gonna watch other companies too because I want a variety. So if one company does all of it, that's great.
Yeah, I mean I'm in the same boat. I love that shit. I don't have like a preferred type of wrestling. There's wrestling I like more than others.
Yeah, I definitely have a type I rate higher than I do others. 100%. That probably overrate to other people, but I do enjoy a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean like
few that I don't.
So that's one match that they announced.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts.
RVD and Hook teaming again, and they are against. Was it 2.0? Or
I want to say it's 2.0.
The former 2.0, I guess. That's not their current names, but Daddy Matt.
Don't hate on us too much for that. There's a lot of stuff to remember on a lot of companies. Yeah. I'll look it up quickly.
Well, it's also not, I know they're not 2.0 anymore, but they need a fucking name. They're not the JS anymore. Like,
yeah, they don't
saying Daddy Magic and Angelo Parker every time, bro.
No, you're right. It's too long. So that's happening. I'm just looking up what else they announced.
I know Tony Khan got a gift for Sting.
He does have a gift for Sting.
A gift. If it's RoboCop, I swear, bro.
Tony's the type of mark who would do that, though. So I mean,
he absolutely is.
They would get over in 2023 if only they were releasing a new movie at this time. Then it would be inevitable. There would be no chance it wouldn't happen.
I was watching another podcast, and they really wanted to be the man they called Sting song to be his gift.
Oh, I like that. That's the one I'm thinking of too. It's like the one he came out to, like the Starcade '97, the famous one. Yeah. So I was really disappointed WWE didn't use it because they have the rights, as far as I'm aware. They used it for like the video game and stuff. Because it's like my favorite theme song. I mean, well, it's not like the best. I feel like his like Seek and Destroy.
I got this.
But like the other one was the one that I associated with Sting, and it's so good. The piano riff and everything.
Yeah.
And it's on all the video games I had as a kid too, which is probably why I'm so nostalgic for it.
When's the last time? Do you know when the last time WWE's used it?
They used it when they first advertised him when he was brought in just to be like DLC for the video game, like a pre-order bonus. And he wasn't even like originally going to do anything else, but the buzz around that alone was so big. They're like, bro, we got to bring you in. And he ended up doing his run. But they had a new theme song when he actually debuted.
Okay.
They used the song for his video game reveal thing, which I was super hype about too. So I remember.
I'm trying to think what else.
Honestly, well, real quick though, because while we're on the subject, we got to talk about Sting's retirement tour.
Yeah, you're right. Let's talk about that.
His WWE debut is still like an all-time moment for me. As much as like some people were down on the run itself,
the debut,
he had some really good moments in it. A lot of it was even just on TV than his actual pay-per-views, but that debut was that was so special for someone so old that like even I had kind of been like, whatever, he's old now. I don't care to see this, which I've like kind of said that at times about AEW stuff, and then he just proves me wrong. Yeah, it proved me wrong again too. Like I was a little on the outs with wrestling, like at the time, but I was still following results if I wasn't watching as much. And oh my god, I saw he debuted, and I had to watch that. Oh, that match was insane. That was like the most perfect overbooking match. It's one of my favorite.
It's funny you bring that up because
matches of all time.
Because when him helping Ziggler, this is the Ziggler shirt that was out at that time.
Oh my god!
Because like if you watch one of the promos when like Triple H gives him a Ziggler choice, he's wearing like this shirt. They're about being on.
Yeah, it's funny.
So,
but he had his other return after he had his WrestleMania match against Triple H, that was fucking atrocious. But after he returned after that a few months later, in that like shocking Raw moment where they like just lifted the thing and he was under it, where apparently he was sweating profusely, so most of his paint like had came off, and he thought he was about to die because it was so hot. But that was such an awesome surprise. No one thought he was going to come back. Like, so that was and it was just a Raw. Like, it was awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
And then obviously, so Sting. That's the news. He said he's going to retire Revolution 2024. We
don't know where that is yet.
No location announced. So that could be big news when it is announced, wherever they.
I think
they can
a lot of people want. They should make it big. Yeah. If they don't make it big, they're not. They're not doing it. Yeah, it's a felony.
It needs to be like the Muda thing. People in WWE, people that only watch WWE, heard about the Great Muda retiring.
What do you think it's going to be like for Sting?
Give a fuck. And so those same people need to hear about this or they fail. Like, you have to get the word out, however you have to do it.
You do, because
if Noah can do it, Pro Wrestling Noah can do it for the Great Muda, you can do it with Sting.
Like, because you're gonna get people from all kinds of eras that are gonna come show up or watch this pay-per-view simply for that.
Two separate ones. Like,
who do you think he faces in his last match?
This is a great question.
Honestly, so hot take, maybe. Mostly because I just see everyone saying, like, it's going to be like Darby or some other singles match. I don't think Bro's working a singles match. I think it's going to be another tag team match just with Darby. But with, like, cool opponents. I don't know who, but I don't think he's going to do a singles match at all. I would love it. He hasn't done one yet. He could do one. I think he could. So he might. But I'm not getting my hopes up that he does a singles match.
I kind of like...
Tags. I think I think that who he tags with might be part of the dream aspect too. It might not all just be Darby,
Yeah,
Darby would be a good one. I kind of think it would be cool if it was Nick Wayne.
That would be really cool.
If you want to really put over someone who's really young and needs it,
I think to make it as big as I want, though, you need the opponent to also have somewhat of a name. Like, I think it can be Darby. I think Darby himself is big enough, but I don't think Nick would be.
You're not gonna like
super huge because Darby's not super huge. But.
You're not gonna like my next comment about a big name, but I mean it's been teased, so there's Jericho as an option.
Yeah, whatever. They don't relate enough to me for me to care about seeing them. The interaction was cool. I'd like to see an tag match.
Yeah.
If it's the last match, I'd be like, yeah, whatever, that's cool enough. But yeah, I wouldn't have any crazy hype for it. I could definitely see it though.
I can see it.
There.
And what sucks though is most people that from like Sting's past you to get are probably too old to want to,
No, there's really no one there. That's why I think if you're gonna do a personal thing, like Darby's probably your best choice.
Yeah.
One thing that would be kind of cool to see, because I don't think they've interacted too much in AEW, but to try to like kind of tie up some loose ends if they're cool with it, and I think they have made up is like do something with Jeff Hardy.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, since they're kind of doing that nostalgia thing, just they're showing up on Rampage now anyway. It'd be kind of cool. You can work that in.
Yeah, I wouldn't be I don't know if you want to do that as like the pay-per-view match though.
No, not for that. I mean, just on his little tour.
On his tour. Yeah,
I don't know how many matches he's gonna have on it. But,
yeah, maybe a couple.
I'm sure he'll have a match at Full Gear. He'll work some probably bigger name Dynamites and Collisions. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe at least Winter is coming, which might be in Montreal. To be honest, it's kind of lining up that way. I don't think it's going to be Texas because I think Texas is getting. You guys are getting ROH, so.
Well, technically, they did both last year too, and it was the same week, just like this. But
they could just do that.
Last
they could
year,
do that
they
again.
even announced the date first before announcing it was Winter is coming. So, like, it's not ruled out, I would say, because they
fair enough.
There you go. I think Montreal makes way more sense. It's not
actually cold.
The southern United States, yes.
Yeah, and it's
I'm
like
fine just going to a regular Dynamite if I go to any of that.
Yeah, because it's like mid-December. It makes a lot of sense. It'll be actually winter outside. They could film some cool shit.
Yeah.
2.0 can have. I mean, I would assume. I could see them doing like Edge Christian at that show too.
You could do Edge. I don't know how quickly they could actually get them teaming up. Imagine Edge and Christian versus Darby and Sting.
I mean, it'd be really good. I could. I mean, they could
even team Edge and Sting against Christian and Nick Wayne or something too.
Sure, why not? You can make it a 6-man as well.
Involved, yeah.
Put the dinosaur in there if you really want to. I mean, it kind of sounds like that's what they're going to head anyways, because like Edge is involved in that angle at this point now.
And I kind of hope he ends up being right that like Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne like drops Christian at some point.
That's 100% having. Edge has spoiled like at least the next like probably year of AEW television. He's told us how it ends already. Barring any like injury or something, God forbid, he spoiled it.
It ends with them winning the tag titles together, obviously.
Yeah.
Come on. it's the obvious story. Who knows how they get there, but it doesn't really matter. It's gonna be fun.
Luchasaurus will probably turn first. Nick will turn later on, and Christian will be alone. Edge will be there for him.
I said you already said that. No matter how it, I
can see with it is if Edge actually turns heel himself, and that's the swerve. But they still do.
Yeah, they don't.
So he's still not wrong.
We'll see how that goes too, because I feel like they can always use more baby. I don't know. It's hard to say actually. I was gonna say
theoretically you think they should, yes, but I also think Edge would be so much better
because he's a better heel than a face. There's no denying that whatsoever.
One of the best heels there is.
Yeah, come on.
Same with Christian. Like the only way either can really be good baby faces, I feel like, is like with nostalgia behind them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Christian had nostalgia with him against Omega. Against Omega, that worked really well, right?
I wonder if they could get away with doing a 5-second pose, or if you would try to be like, nope.
Oh my god, that'd be so funny.
They just changed it to a 6-second pose to get away with it.
But speaking of all those guys too, like and in AEW, we also had the Blackpool Combat Club heavily involved on Collision last night. Heavily involved. They've attacked the Blackpool Combat Club, and it looks like they're kind of maybe going towards like some sort of 5-on-5 at some point.
That's promising.
Well, actually, you know what? I'm not sure if they're going to do a 5-on-5 because they were doing a 5-on-5 kind of standoff, and then Malachi turns to Ricky and he's like, "Yeah, just go in there. We'll follow you." And then Ricky goes in there and they just walk away like assholes.
I don't know when his contract up, but I know he's a tag champion too. But I don't know. Ricky's just been taking some L's lately. Like I feel like he might be on the way out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stuff like that. I haven't actually watched it myself to clarify, but I did see like that happened. Like he kind of looks like more of a chump, and he sells it well. He makes himself look more of a chump himself by selling. So he's doing his job. So it is almost like it's the goal. And I mean, he's obviously fine with it. He's being a professional. I mean, I don't think it's any like bad blood or whatever. But I get a little worried that might be the direction it's going when I see that shit happen.
I can certainly agree with that. I can see it too. You were gonna say, Blaze?
We better get Black versus Brian at some point because That's what I was
Oh,
first
God,
thinking.
yeah.
When he first like kicked him, I was like, "Oh, give it to me."
Yeah, because he hasn't had a singles match in a while.
Yeah, he hasn't because he's been banged up, unfortunately, or he was banged up.
Oh, damn,
And then before that, he was just getting booked as a trios guy because that's what they want to do, or want to have him do rather. But yeah, so that's really interesting. The MJF Kenny Omega stuff is interesting as well. They're teasing the dates. Joe is still going after MJF, and I will say, like, I don't know if you guys like had a chance to really watch it, but the Statlander,
yeah,
it was a really good
I
match.
saw a lot of the post-match stuff too on it.
Yeah.
I haven't actually seen much
where-
from the match, but I'll get to that after this.
the Sky Count, they're
I
like,
did see a lot of
"Don't
the
shake her
post-match.
hand."
Yeah,
It was a really good match with Willow. I
that
actually
was the
thought
match I was most hyped for on Battle of the Belts.
I think it was a better match than the Mickey match, honestly, if I'm being real. Just because they did a lot of really cool shit, and it was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be too. So that was nice. I think there's a really good tag. Yeah, the tag match was really good as well, obviously, as you would expect it to be. I'm trying to remember what the opener was. Collision was really good. Everything's kind of blending together because I watched some of it.
The opening Collision, that was the Brian.
Oh yeah,
Daniel Bryan and Andrade, because I actually watched that before we went on.
Shit was
really
good.
good. That's all I've seen from Collision all the way through.
Okay, so that's a good thing that you brought that up because that match was great, and it also led into a moment on the Battle of the Belts where Lana, or formerly Lana, now CJ Perry.
I believe she's just going by CJ on AEW.
By CJ now?
Vince
Sexy and flexible, or whatever it was. Whatever the fuck it was.
I think her Tron said hot and flexible.
Yeah, hot and flexible. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So stupid. But yeah, she's going after Andrade now.
And was like, he was confused at first, like.
Well, she also called him like the most handsome, and he was like, "What?" And I just thought that was pretty funny. So yeah, there's some good stuff coming up. There's a lot of stuff on WWE. I'm sure that happened too. I just can't think of it right now. They're setting up for their pay-per-view.
Judgment they won the tag titles back.
Oh right, yeah. that happened.
The big thing too, though, before we get on, like LA Knight versus Roman is official
for Saudi, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool, I suppose.
They announced that the LA Times broke the news of LA Knight challenging for the WWE title. You know they did that on purpose. You know that was done by design, and I applaud them for it. That's genius.
I both hate it and love it. It annoys me how good that is.
All outlets they could have leaked the news to first. They picked the LA Times.
Oh man,
it makes sense.
Dude's not even from LA, I'm pretty sure. That's the funniest part of all of this.
I mean, let's be honest. The name fucking sucks. The name LA Knight is terrible.
Whenever he first came up with it, and then it's so funny that whenever he was like doing the model thing, he was Max Dupree, and like Triple H first took over, and everyone's like, "Oh, maybe he can start giving some of these people his names back." And they're like, "Oh, maybe he can go back to being LA Knight." And I'm like, "No, can he please just let him be Eli Drake?" And I was like, "Why is everyone wanting LA Knight back?" But whatever, it fucking works now.
It works fine. It's just I still think it sucks, but that's okay. He's over anyway, so who cares what I think, really?
The man is from Maryland. He is from Maryland.
It's from Baltimore, Maryland. Oh my god.
Hagerstown, Maryland, wherever the fuck that is.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's as far from LA as you can be in this country.
Oh man, what do we got? What do we got coming up next week?
There's a New Japan US show, the Vegas show with Eddie Kingston. It's an RA. I can't quite remember what all else is booked, but it's good stuff on it. I think there's the NWA pay-per-view, which honestly, NWA is making more news now, so that's not anything to.
Is it Heian against Julia as well? That show?
Yes. Yeah, that's the one. That should be really good.
Next week or the week after?
What is Crown Jewel? That's the week after.
Okay.
Already? Holy crap! That's going up fast.
Yeah, and currently, right now, the Best of Super Juniors tournament just started. First show was yesterday morning.
Oh, I need to check that out. I like the Super Junior stuff.
I don't think it's gonna be super eventful, but the first day of matches was pretty fun. I watched it.
It's a tag one though, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and they're doing undercard is like their power struggle tour. So they have heavyweight people like fight.
Okay.
So it's like your Sonata kind of doing stuff with Naito, just to build the Wrestle Kingdom, that kind of stuff. But just
Somehow
basic stuff.
Okada randomly free.
Can't remember which year, but the Super Juniors was like the first time I seen LP. And I became a fan like the second I saw him with his entrance and everything. I'm like, I like this guy.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, obviously he's a heavyweight now, but I don't think he's actually going to be at the Vegas show. So
nice.
Coming up because he's the strong tag champs now. Hikuleo. They're defending. I just don't remember against who.
Right, I forgot they put the belts on them, which is pretty cool. All right, yeah. So,
but that's all for next weekend that I'm aware of. Everything else is afterwards. Because like I know Impact's just to wrap up with them again since we started with them so much. Turning Point's only in like 2 weeks. That'll be actually a tape one for once, not live, but it's because they're overseas. But they're going to air it like their normal time they would air them if they were in America, like a Friday.
Yeah. Should be interesting. The UK tour is next.
Yeah, and I don't know his opponent. I don't believe that's been announced. Ospreay's opponent because he's already fighting Josh like today or tomorrow on the TV tapings. So,
yeah, only those matches have been announced. I don't think the pay-per-view match itself has been announced, so it'll be interesting to see what it is.
Yeah, he'd be there, but yeah, so I don't know. Interesting. He could fight. Wait, no, maybe is it Eddie Edwards? I feel like maybe that wasn't it.
I think you're right. I think the only match that wasn't announced for him is the match that they're doing in Scotland, because I believe Sky was saying that they only announced that he's going to be there.
Oh, okay. I wasn't even sure if he was going to be there.
I think so.
He probably will. I think he was going to make most of the tour.
I don't see why he wouldn't be. It'd be weird.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we can wrap it up here. Yeah, really cool week for. I guess we're going to call them Impact until January.
Yeah,
I'll probably switch between.
We're going to call it TNA now. All right, we're officially in the TNA era.
It's TNA now. I'm fine with them being patient. I could talk about before, but it's TNA already.
So which TNA era were we at? Like the second or third?
Technically, I would say the actual second one. There was
the second
NWA
one.
TNA. Then there was TNA. Then it was I guess Global Force and Impact. But this is the second pure TNA.
Pure TNA. That's right.
NWA TNA was kind of before that, and that's
okay.
You can maybe count that one first, but.
Well, I mean, NWA TNA to TNA to me is the same thing. You know what I mean?
This is clear. Well, this is clearly going back to that Spike era TNA, though.
It is the best era of TNA according to a lot of people. So that's awesome. Thank you to Wrestling Smarks and Reno in the chat for contributing today. We'll see you all next week. It's Sky. Awesome.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't know who it was.
I wasn't sure, but that's awesome.
That makes sense. That
it's the only Reno fan I know. So
I don't even know who Reno is. So I'm just playing along. But thank you. Yeah, thank you to everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
All right, have a good one.
Cheers.